all heard of Corey Feldman, the star of Stand By Me, Bad News Bears, it goes on, and Corey Haim, starring in Lost Boys, a whole list of famous movies. But now Corey Feldman is publicly saying he will not rest until his, quote, promise to Corey Haim is fulfilled. He is seemingly on a crusade, and I'm talking about the star of Goonies, now 46, Corey Feldman, in a very revealing statement, claims he is crusading to expose alleged sex abuse in Hollywood. And he claims he's speaking out on behalf also of his friend Corey Haim. Listen.
Enough is enough. He will kill me. People need to know the truth.
Corey Feldman has been very outspoken in recent months about the sexual abuse that he says he and many others growing up in Hollywood endured, including best friend Corey Haim.
Corey asked me to make sure that if he died before me, that his story was told. And I am doing exactly that.
That is from E! News Online. With me right now is someone who disagrees vehemently with Corey Feldman. Right now, joining me is the mother of Corey Haim. Judy Haim is joining us. Judy, thank you for being with us. First of all, I cannot imagine the grief and the pain that you went through when you lost your son, Corey Haim. And I know you still feel that loss every single day. And now to have Corey Feldman, as he says, honoring a promise he made to your son to expose sex abuse. What do you make of it, Judy?
Well, I have everything in kind of writing. What I make of it, it's all full of crap. And it goes back to the reality show. On the reality show, on the two Coreys, if you go and have a good look and you really pay attention to the second season of the two Coreys, you will find that my son threw both of them, Corey Feldman and his wife, from his house. They did not like each other at all. They were in odds with each other for a very long time. People need to really watch the reality show very carefully, because Corey Feldman sent me an email this year saying like this. And we did go to his house after the show was done because my son wanted to go and buy his son Zen a toy. So we went over there, and he said like this, and this was right after the second season. And he said, Corey asked me to tell his story. The night you guys came over to the house, and Susie made you dinner, and after the show, and we all made up. He asked me to do it because he lived his life in fear. And he said, tell my whole story and why I am the way I am. And I just kept reading it, and I'm going, he claims, yeah, I remember going to his house. I was there. His assistant, Dre, happened to be there. So I called Dre, and I said, Dre, do you remember them taking off from the living room? Do you remember them going somewhere else? Do you remember my son ever telling Corey Feldman, of all people, to write his life story right after the second season of the reality show, after he didn't want to have anything to do with them whatsoever? That doesn't sound like my son, and he never said anything like that. Now, he's saying it to everybody. This is the biggest lie that Corey Feldman is saying to everybody, that my son told him to tell his life story. The timing is absolutely impossible, and at this point, I want proof. I want proof that my son signed something or said something, because he got away with this life for way too long. And this is how he's raising money, from his campaign, saying, don't worry, soon we're going to find out who Corey Haim's abuser is. But people don't seem to remember that on the two Coreys, my son told me one day that he's had enough of them pointing fingers at him regarding drugs. And everybody knows My son said it to the world that he's on prescription drugs. But Corey Feldman was hiding it and pointing fingers, and my son had just about enough. So he told me that one day, this is it, on the show, on national TV, he's going to come out and he's actually going to tell Corey Feldman and surprise him with the fact that his friend, Dominic Brasha, was the one that he introduced my son to as soon as they met at 15 and a half, as soon as we moved to Los Angeles.
Miss Haim,